Hey everyone, it's me Richard and I'm here again. So the royal wedding happened this weekend. Yeah. And the black officiate went out of his way to remind us that 400 years ago the European empire was built on the backs of African slaves.
Himself, who explained the dynamic power of love and why it has the power to transform. They explained it this way. They sang a spiritual, even in the midst of their captivity. They said, if you cannot preach like Peter and you cannot pray like Paul, you just tell the love of Jesus, how he died to save us all. Oh, that's the balm in Gilead. This way of love, it is the way of life.
And now, and now, most Africans live poor and pauperized, like living in shitholes.
They're not whole countries. For one, Donald Trump isn't their president.
Yeah. So, and the Queen was very uncomfortable about that. But closer to home, Tommy Lee Sparta was arrested.
Begin with news that popular dancehall entertainer Tommy Lee Sparta is now in police custody. The artist, whose given name is Leroy Russell, was arrested early this morning in Kingston after leaving the Magnum Kings and Queens of Dancehall show. It's understood that C-Talk and CIB detectives want to question him about organized crimes in St. James.
Yeah. But it was unclear, what was happening up until he was at the station, because apparently the arrest went a little bit like this.
His attorney Ernie Smith is upset about the way Tommy Lee was approached and how the police have dealt with his client. Mr. Smith says after leaving the show, Tommy Lee stopped at an ATM in Manor Park, St. Andrew, where masked police officers with guns accosted him.
Okay, so the police come masked to arrest you. That does not look good. That is the work of criminals. And to make it even worse, they came as he was exiting the ATM. So it has all the hallmarks of a robbery and an assassination at the same time.
The police press, but they're masked like gangsters. Took him into custody and said they want to question him. They took him to Halfway Tree police station. One of the attorneys from my chambers has gone down there to find out what the position is. You know, with due respect, this amounts to police brutality, really.
Unnecessarily full disclosure. I'd much rather be on the receiving end of police brutality than police fatality. Just saying.
He's on his way from a function. He goes into ATM machine, and the next thing, high-powered weapons are pointed at him, and then he's taken away and told that he wants to be questioned. Why? Because you're Tommy Lee.
How is that possible? So, apparently, these officers that came to do this to Mr. Sparta. So, according to RGR News, Tommy Lee, these officers were from the Counter Terrorist and Organized Crime Investigation Branch, C-Talk, and the Criminal Investigation Branch, CIB. So what they wanted with him? Well, they wanted to question him in relation to organized crime in St. James. So
a senior investigator told TVJ News that the artist is to be questioned later this week.
Based on how that is worded, it would seem that Tommy Lee was a person of interest. And they did this after he was leaving the Magnum Kings and Queens of Dancehall show in Kingston. That looks a certain way. So it's like, okay, we want this big name right? And he's a person of interest. So instead of asking him to come in so we can question him, we're going to wait until he has a show. And so it so happened that he has the Magnum Kings and Queens of Dancehall show. So we wait until he's leaving, come masked, and we arrest him.
Um, Police brutality, really.
It sounds like probably they were there to do more, and maybe they realized, hey, look at that ATM camera. We better not do anything. Let's just arrest him.
Why? Because you're Tommy Lee.
Right? And then reports are they can't find the arresting officer and they can't find the investigating officer. However, I'm not really here to talk about Tommy Lee specifically because this actually happened to me. In 2010, while I left work, apparently a robbery took place like less than 100 meters away from the Above Rocks police station. And I was passing and I was curious as to what's happening. And while I was going about my business, walking home in the early evening, the police asked me to come to the station. He wanted to talk to me. I was a person of interest. And I was arrested and I was in lockup for 3 days without family knowing anything, without getting my phone call, and then my computer was taken. And when I got it back, it didn't work. It worked like for 2-3 weeks and then it stopped working completely. Now, what I'm really here to talk about is terminologies that police use in their operation. So, wanted. Wanted, that's a good term. They use that term well. So, if you are wanted, usually they have evidence enough to charge you with some kind of crime. Right? But the term that they don't use well is the term person of interest. You might have noticed that I've used it a couple times before. Now, a person of interest, technically, what a person of interest is this. Well, according to Wikipedia, a person of interest is a term used by law enforcement when identifying someone involved in a criminal investigation who has not been arrested or formally accused of a crime. It's not a legal meaning, but it refers to a person who the police are interested, either because the person is cooperating with the investigation, may have information that would assist the investigation, or possess certain characteristics that merit further attention. But in my layperson definition, a person, right, is a human, male or female, or other genders apparently, because that happened. That of interest mean they have information that may lead the police to an arrest. Now, continuing from Wikipedia, the terms such as suspect, target, and martial witness have clear and sometimes formal definition. Person of interest remain undefined. Right? So person of interest is sometimes used as an euphemism for suspect, but person of interest and suspect, in my opinion, are different, and this careless use may encourage trial by media. Right? So that's what, and it's not just trial by media, it's trial by your boss, it's trial by your parents. Right? So when the police comes on the TV and say, "Oh, we X is a person of interest. They are mashing up X life, even though X may not have done anything. They just think that he has information. And this careless use of the term person of interest has really got to stop. Right? A person of interest is a person you are interested in. And they keep asking person of interest to turn themselves in. They keep arresting persons of interest. So you're arrested, they have no crime to charge you for, which means you cannot be given bail. So you're stuck in prison for extended period of time for no reason, right? So I'm very upset about this. Police needs to stop using this term person of interest to refer to suspect. If it's suspect, it's suspect. If it's person of interest, is a person who you are not looking to arrest. You just think they have information. And 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 to tell the truth, if you're a person of interest and police tell you to turn yourself in, I implore you, do not. No. If you're a suspect and police tell you to turn yourself in, then you might want to go. But if you're a person of interest, then they should not need you to turn yourself in, because you're not guilty. You're not being charged with anything. So why would you need to turn yourself in? That doesn't make sense, right? But then they can say, oh well, we're charging you with obstruction. You can't charge them with obstruction. It's just so, I don't understand law. It's so stupid. Like, for example, if you are being arrested, you're supposed to take the arrest, even if they're not charging you, or even if they're not making it clear why they're arresting you. But here's the thing: if you allow yourself to be arrested, right, without knowing what they're charging you for or whatever, you may end up not being given a phone call, be trapped in a jail cell, probably end up in prison, and because there's no record of you being charged, there's no record of you, so you end up in prison for an extended period of time for doing nothing. So especially with a Jamaican police force, although there's no police force that has ever gotten a plus, or people saying, oh, this is a great police force. Maybe in Britain, where they don't carry guns, but I don't know. This thing with the law enforcement, it needs to stop. We need to see more transparency, and we need to see better policing. I thank you.